Yes, good afternoon, students. Are you able to hear me? Yes. Okay, good. So I was doing this particular concept in the last class, crystal field theory, but let me again brief you through this because this concept requires the revision also. So I will start from the beginning, okay? Why crystal field theory came into picture? You have seen that VBT had a lot of assumption plus one more thing, students. In VBT, what they were saying is the ligand has the orbital. Okay, ligand has orbital. Now I'll just take this as the orbital of ligand. Okay, and then metal also has the orbital. So there is overlapping of the orbital taking place, no, due to which there is formation of the bond. Okay, the coordination bond, which they mentioned that the bond which is happening between the ligand and the metal, it's a covalent bond. The nature of that bond is covalent in nature. Coordinate bond, it's kind of covalent bond itself, correct? But now others were not able to agree with this thing. Okay, this point was like they were not able to digest the point that metal would require to share the electron, because metal doesn't require the electron. Usually the tendency of the metal is what? They try to give the electrons to somebody. They don't need any electron. Okay, so they were not ready to accept this concept at all. Like some were not agreeing to understand why that they have to share the electron. We can understand when you talk about the non-metals, because like if the in the case of carbon, if you tell, okay, if I have to take example of methane, we can understand why carbon has to share the electron with hydrogen, because reason is what? Why do they need to share the electron? You know this answer, you can tell me why carbon has to share the electron. When they are forming the covalent bond, why non-metals usually share the electron? To become stable. One more reason is there, no, what is that stability about? To complete their octet, correct? No, yes, stable is correct what you said. Yeah, to complete their octet they need to share their electron. So we can understand in the case of carbon or in case of any non-metals that they need to complete their octet, so they need to share the electron. But this point is not understood. Okay, that VBT was not able to explain us correctly why that they have to overlap and finally they have to form that covalent bond. And there are so many other drawbacks also. Magnetic property were not explained. They were telling that the compound will be diamagnetic, but then the compound will come out to be paramagnetic. When they were telling it is paramagnetic, it comes out to be diamagnetic. So like that, so many things, so many problems. Okay, and color also they were not able to explain. Strong field ligand, weak field ligand, proper categorization was also not done. So because of that reason, okay, we had to like it was a mess. Okay, not understanding the coordinates became little difficult. So now what these people did is scientists, they approached the physics. Okay, this physics people are there, no, so they have taken the solid state to explain the coordination compound. Okay, so here this crystal field theory is not the chemistry concept, it has come from physics. Okay, so the main origin is through the physics. So physics people were the one who took this, okay, coordination compound to explain in their own this thing. Okay, so in the physics point of view, if you are learning, you know, they will consider only about the charges. There is no overlapping concept. They don't consider that hypothetical concept of hybridization, overlapping, all that thing is not there in physics. Okay, they just understand only two things, that there are charges, and charges, one is positive charge and the other one is negative charge. Okay, so if you remember, I had told you the first postulate that they consider the central metal atom. I will again repeat this. Okay, the first postulate, if you remember, I have told you that the central metal atom, because metals are usually positively charged, so they considered the central metal atom as positive charge, and the ligands which are there, the ligands they started considering as the negative point charge. Okay, here positive point charge, and this was considered as a negative point charge. So they were considering only positive and negative charge. Now ligands are not only negatively charged. No, how can you say that all the ligands are negatively charged? We have so many ligands and so many complexes which are formed due to neutral ligands. Like example is water, We have water, which is a neutral ligand, and then we have ammonia. Then there are so many other ligands which are like En molecules are there. Okay, there are other ligands which are neutral in nature. Then what will you do in this case? Then what they said, then you consider the dipole. Okay, in that case, you need to consider the dipole. Like in case of water, as you know the structure of the water, you have oxygen in the center, and then we have hydrogen in this shape. No, it is having that bent V shape. So where you understand that they have formed this bond due to electronegativity difference. Oxygen is more electronegative and hydrogen is little more electropositive. So what oxygen will try to do? Oxygen will try to take all the electron towards themselves, giving you partial negative charge, and hydrogen will acquire a positive charge. Same thing happens on this hydrogen also, because hydrogen will try to lose their electron towards this electronegative oxygen. Okay, so electron density will go more towards the oxygen, giving them a partial negative charge. So now here a dipole will be created, mean two poles are created, one of negative charge and one of positive charge. So they say that this negative charge then can interact with the metal. Okay, like this. If I take metal as the positive one, if I consider this as a metal which is positive one, positively charged, then you can take this as a dipole like this. Okay, one with negative charge and one with positive charge. So then this positive and negative can have a interaction like this. Okay, so in this way, they said that if there is neutral molecule, you take the dipole. Similarly, it goes for ammonia also. Ammonia also, you know how the structure is. Nitrogen comes in the center. Okay, nitrogen comes in the center, and then you are having 3 hydrogen attached to the nitrogen in this fashion. Okay, this is how the structure is. Pyramidal structure you are having. Okay, and there you get to know there is a lone pair of electron also. There is a lone pair of electron also on the nitrogen, and you know nitrogen is more electronegative. So nitrogen being more electronegative will acquire partial negative charge, and hydrogen loses towards the nitrogen. So they are losing towards the nitrogen. So hydrogen will get a positive charge. Okay. So again, there is a dipole created, one with negative charge and one with positive charge. This is the dipole which we are talking about. Okay. Charge separation which has happened. Is the first point clear? This I am talking in terms of CFT. Okay. I'll be asking at each and every point, I'll be asking you. So just let me know. This first point is clear, no? That we are considering the metal as the positive charge, okay, positive point charge, and then we are considering the ligand as a negative point charge. Okay. But if they are minusly charged, then no problem for us. But in case of the molecules which are neutral, okay, in case of neutral ligands, I'll write it over here. In case of neutral ligands, then you need to consider them as a dipole. Okay, then it should be considered as dipole because there is charge separation. Then that dipole will have a interaction. Okay, then next point, what did I say? The second point, if you remember, the second point of this theory, since metals are positively charged and these non-metals are, the ligands which are there, they are minus charge. Okay, this metal we have as positive charge, the central metal atom, I'll just write CMA, the central metal atom which is positively charged, and we have the ligands which are negatively charged, or if they have dipole also, there will be a negative charge. Then there will be a force of attraction between them. Okay, so here crystal field clearly says that there is no overlapping. They don't explain anything about the overlapping. Okay, they don't discuss at all about that. They say that we have only two charges, one positive charge and one negative charge. Whenever you have opposite charge, there can be only one interaction possible, that is electrostatic interaction between them. Okay, so here they say the interaction between this positive and the negative is purely electrostatic. Okay, they say it is purely electrostatic. So this is electrostatic force of attraction which is present between them. Okay, it's purely electrostatic force of attraction. Yes, so example I have given you about this also, like Na plus ion and Cl minus ion, when they combine together, you know that the ionic compounds, when they combine together, Na plus and Cl minus, they are also combining because of electrostatic force of attraction. So here, these people are trying to compare this coordination compound with the ionic compounds. Okay, so since ionic compounds are formed like this, if you see the crystal also, you will understand, students. NaCl crystal, do you remember? We have discussed in solid state. Correct, no? In solid state, if you remember, how was it? Like this, no? This is how the crystal lattice was. So if you're able to see here, metal is in the center. Okay, I have written here. See, these gray ones are there, no? These gray ones are the sodium ions, and then you can see here Cl minus ions are the chloride ion. So if you are able to see here properly, this metal and this ion, the metal and the ion are held together by electrostatic force of attraction, and they give rise to this kind of structure. See this structure, what kind of structure they are having? Metal, if I take in the center, I will write here. Metal, if I take in the center, you can see here chloride ions are surrounded by them. Cl minus here, then you can see here Cl minus, Cl minus, Cl minus. See this structure properly. Okay, I am taking only the Cl minus which is next to the ion. So what kind of structure you are getting over here? See properly and tell me what kind of geometry you are getting here. If you take the metal in the center and if you take all these chloride ions surrounding them, what kind of geometry are you getting here? See the metal which is there in the center. Yes, correct. That is what I wanted. Yeah, see the structure correctly. See metal you are having in the center, and then on the plane you see there are 4 chloride ion. One over here. Okay, I will make a line over here. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. 4 are there on the plane. One is above the plane and one is below the plane. Yes, what geometry is this? Yeah, octahedral, no? So you can see here, when they compared, okay, coordination compound with the ionic compound, you can see here ionic compound is almost having the geometry what coordination compound also has, no? Like if you take the coordination compound of ML6 type, this is how it will be, no? You will find that metal is in the center and you will see that the 6 ligands are surrounding the metal. So if you see the ionic compound is also like that, okay? So we discuss about coordination number, no? We have discussed coordination number in simple cubic. This is simple cubic lattice, okay? Simple cubic. For sodium chloride, if you remember, they have simple cubic structure, where the coordination number for this is 6, no? You have told me this when I was asking Viva also, coordination number for this is 6. Like that only even this complexes are, where you find the metal in the center and then you see that the ligands are surrounding them. So we discuss about the coordination number in coordination compounds and we discuss coordination number even in the solid state. So you can see so much amount of resemblance is there in them. So they started comparing, okay, this also ionic compound also has this kind of geometry and even coordination compound has this kind of geometry. That means the way they are getting formed is almost similar. Okay, that's their assumption. Getting the point? The second point, did you understand? Okay, there is electrostatic force of attraction between the positive and the negative ion. Okay, that was the second point which I discussed now. Yeah. Now we'll go for the next one. The third one which I gave you, I told you that there is no overlapping of the atomic orbital. That they are not telling. Okay, so that you can just remember that there is no overlapping. There is no overlapping of atomic orbitals. Atomic orbitals of what? Atomic orbitals of central metal atom and the atomic orbitals of the ligand. Okay, atomic orbitals of, I can write atomic orbitals of central metal atom. The CMA stands for central metal atom and the ligand. Okay, so there is no overlapping of atomic orbital. So this is not there. So that is about the crystal, because I said physics doesn't consider anything about overlapping. If you are studying physics right now, so you will be knowing that anywhere you might have not studied anything about overlapping or hybridization. That concept only doesn't come over here. Here, yeah, according to CFT, yes, what CFT says is, okay, according to CFT, they say that there is no overlapping. But if you go and take another theory, the advanced theory, okay, which says that there is actually both happening. Okay, there is ionic bond also, there is covalent bond also, which is like further the advanced theory, ligand field theory. Okay, it is combination of both VBT also and this crystal field theory also, ligand field theory, which gives you for better explanation. But now we will focus on this. Is this followed? So that is the reason why the bond is like very strong. Okay, you know that the coordinate bond is stronger than compared to ionic as well as the covalent bonding. It doesn't break that easily, you know. So that is because of 50-50% ratio of both. Okay, it comes according to that Fajans rules also. If you remember, we have studied that there is no bond which is 100% ionic and there is no bond which is 100% covalent. Okay, some of the covalent bond has ionic character and some of the ionic bond also has a covalent character. Okay, so that explanation has come later. So this was like before, no? Yes. Now I'll go move on with the next. I believe these three are clear. Okay. You should listen properly. Make note of each and every point, because crystal field, if you are listening properly and if you are concentrating and if you are able to imagine things, only then the things will enter into the head. Okay. Otherwise, I don't think so. Okay, then it will be very difficult. Yeah, now I'll go for the next one. The fourth one which I have discussed for you, that is about the metal. Okay, I have told you about the metal. Now, before the ligand has approached, if you talk only about the metal orbitals, okay, before the ligand has approached, before the ligand, I can write it as before the ligand, or even I can write that in the absence of the ligand. In the absence of the ligand. So in the absence of the ligand, if you are talking about the d orbitals, okay, we have 5 d orbitals, correct? We are having 5 d orbitals, and all of these d orbitals which are there, all these d orbitals, okay, the 5 d orbitals will have equal energy. Okay, all the 5 d orbitals, I'll write here, all the d orbitals have same energy. Okay, they have same energy, or I can say they have equal energy. They have equal energy. Okay, that is in the absence of the ligand, when the ligand has not come. Only the field of the metal is there. Okay, so then there is no disturbance. If there is no disturbance, everyone will be calm there. Okay, all of them will have equal energy. So here all the d orbitals before the ligand has approached, they have same energy. And what are those d orbitals which I have discussed? Also, you remember, no? We have 5 d orbitals. Those are d xy, then we have d yz, d xz, then we have d x square minus y square, and then the last one we are having is d z square. Okay, so these are the 5 orbitals we are having: dxy, dy, dxz, d square minus y square, and ez square. Now, if you talk about the way they are arranged in the metal, okay, this is how it will be. D orbitals, if you remember, I will not draw. I have already displayed the picture. You are able to see this picture over here. Okay, this is how the orientation is. Correct, no, students? Dxy is present between. Sorry, this is yz. Okay, the first one is yz. So yz, if you see, you will find that orbital lobes are there. No, that lobes are between y and z axis. Okay, they are in between. You are able to see this figure. Okay, they are in between them, between the y and between the z. Okay, like this. So in between them, they are present. Even in the next one, that is xz, if you see, these orbital lobes are in between them, and even in xy also, they are in between. These are in between. See here. This is your x plane and this is the y plane. And on the top, perpendicular to that, we have the z plane. So they are in between, if you are able to see on the plane. Okay, it is shown properly here. So they are in between the axis. Now coming to this 2, that is x square minus y square, and then we are having dz square. So if you see these two properly, these axes, okay, the on the axis, if you are able to see, the lobes are present on the axis over here. Okay, so there is a name given to them. These 3 which are having the lobes in between the axis, these are called as non-axial set, because they are not on the axis. So they are called as non-axial set. And these 2 orbitals which are having the lobes on the axis, means where the x-axis, y-axis and z-axis is there only they are sitting. Okay, so then they are called as axial set. This set is called as axial set. And I gave you another name also. For non-axial set, I told you non-axial set is also called as T2G. Okay. 2G you will write as a suffix, and then this axial set is called as the EG orbitals. Okay. These set. So that is the axial set and this is the non-axial set. So this happens before the ligand. All of them will have same energy. Okay. And these orbitals which are having same energy, I have told you the name for that. These are called as degenerate orbital. These orbitals are called as degenerate orbitals. Should I repeat that? Okay, I'll repeat this one. See, fourth one, I will repeat once again. Yeah, listen now. See, what I was telling is when the ligand has not approached the metal atom, means in the absence of the ligand. We are talking when the ligand has not come. In the absence of the ligand, we are seeing the condition of the metal. Okay. Metal has 5d orbitals. Okay. And what are those? That is dxy. We have dxy. Then we have dyz. We have dxz. Then we have x square minus y square. And then we have dz square. Okay. And if the ligand has not approached, students, all of these orbitals which are there, they will have same energy, equal energy. Okay. There is no difference in the energy of this dxy, yz, xz, x square minus y square and z square. All of them will have same energy. And those orbitals are called as a degenerate orbital. Okay. These orbitals called as degenerate orbital. Then I spoke about how exactly the lobes are oriented. Okay, I was talking about the orientation of this. So there I told you here, if you are taking, that is dxy, see this xy, then we have dxz, and then we have dyz. So if you are talking about these three orbital, you will see that the lobes which are there, it will come in between the plane. Okay. Take two planes. So if you take now here, see this two axes, if I take, you see this properly. See, this is one axis and I am having this as another axis. I'm drawing here for xy, okay, the third one. See here. This is one axis and this is another axis. So you are able to see this lobe comes in between, no, like this. In between the axis, no, they are coming like this. In between the axis. So that is a place where they are sitting. Okay, these lobes are sitting in that particular place. In between the axis, they are occupying the place. So similarly with xz and yz. Then I spoke about these x square minus y square, and we are having dz square. Okay, x square minus y square and z square. So if you see their shape, you will see that the dz square is there, no? So z square is where the z axis is there. Exactly on that axis, this orbital you will find there. Okay, on the z axis. This is the axis. So exactly on the axis, they are occupying the place. It's like in between the road. Okay, if the road is like this, and if somebody is sitting on in that line itself, okay, they are occupying that particular line. So they are, that's how they are occupying the place over here. Okay, and here if you talk about dx square minus y square, even they are like that. Okay, if I take this as y and this is x, you see that on the axis they are occupying the place. Okay, understood now? So I told you the name which is given. Since they are on the axis, so it is axial set. If they are not on the axis, if they are coming in between, then they are called as non-axial. Okay, because they are in between. These are in between. If you want, I'll give the name. In between. This is on the axis. Okay, clear about this? Fourth point is clear. And have you all written down till here? Written, no? Okay. Now we'll go for the next one. See? The fifth one. Yeah, let me go for the next. So that I discussed when there were no ligands coming. Okay, now in the presence of the ligand, in the presence of the ligand, or I can say when the ligand is going to approach. Okay, now this I'm telling you briefly because when I'm going to start with the complex, I will still go in detail. Okay, so now you just need to remember what exactly happens. Okay, just the principal part of it. What exactly will happen? So I said initially, I will just draw that d orbital here. Initially, these were our d orbitals. Okay, I have drawn here down if you are able to see. Okay, so this is our d orbital. 5d orbitals, I will not name them. You know the names of that now. Okay, so they are having equal energy. Now, when the ligand is going to come, okay, slowly as they are coming, if you remember, metal has electron. Okay, metal contains electrons. And you even know that ligand also contains electrons in their orbital. Okay, ligand also contains electron. Metal contains electron. Ligand also contains electron. If two electrons are approaching nearby, what happens? If you get the North Pole and the North Pole together, what happens? If you get the South Pole and the South Pole together, then what happens? Then there is repulsion. Yes, because the charges are similar, no? The field over here is similar, correct? So if the similar charges come together, then there will be repulsion taking place. Okay. So now here, when the repulsion happens, they have to, like, what will happen when the repulsion happens? If you get the North and the North Pole, they will try to go far away. Okay, so energy increase is there. So even here, you are going to do the same thing. Okay, so initially they were in the lower energy state, okay, which I have done over here. You imagine this is my energy level here. I will just write E. Okay, if this is the energy level you have to show, then down is the d orbital where they were having equal energy. Okay, now once the ligand is going to approach, first what will happen is all the d orbitals will get excited. Okay, all of these will get excited. So this also I will tell you why all of these are getting excited over here. So now here, okay, all of that gets excited and they will experience that repulsion. So they go to the higher energy state. Okay, so they will acquire the higher energy state. Now, once they have acquired the higher energy state, the ligand will come from certain direction, students. Okay, this ligand which is there, it depends on what geometry you are discussing. For octahedral, it is different. For tetrahedral, it will be different. Okay, so now you have to see what geometry you are explaining. So that depends on a particular complex. Okay, now in general I'm talking about. So imagine once the ligand is just going to come, okay, when they are far, just nearing by, they experience a repulsion. Okay, so now if the ligand comes very close, okay, this was before case. Okay, this is when they are going to come. Okay, as they are approaching, okay, first there will be excitation happening, as I said. So as they are approaching, they get excited. Now, once the ligand has come closer to that particular orbital, no? See, the one who is near to the ligand, okay, the orbital which is very close to the ligand, they will experience more repulsion. Agree, no? With that, the one who is very close to the ligand, the orbital I'm talking about, the metal orbital who is very close to the ligand, they will experience more repulsion. And the one who is in between that, suppose if the ligand is coming in that way, okay, if the orbital is on the axis and the ligand is also coming on the axis, then they will experience more repulsion. Okay, so then the one who is experiencing more repulsion will go to the higher energy state. Okay, I'll just put the line here. They will go to the higher energy state. Okay, one will go to the higher energy state. That depends on the orientation. Okay, and then the one who is present in between, or the one who is not getting the ligand directly, they will experience less repulsion. So they will acquire the lower energy state. Okay, so when this happens, when the ligand has exactly come, okay, to the metal orbital, they experience a lot of repulsion. So I said one experience higher repulsion goes to the higher energy state. One who experiences lower repulsion will go to the lower energy state. Then the orbitals undergo splitting here. You're able to see? We have divided this into two parts now. Okay, so they undergo splitting. This splitting itself is called as crystal field splitting. Okay, this splitting is called as crystal field splitting. Okay, CFS, crystal field splitting. So that when it is happening, when the ligand approaches, okay, so I can just give you the definition. What is crystal field splitting? The splitting of the degenerate, because initially they were having equal energy. The splitting of the degenerate orbitals, of metal, when it happens in the presence of the ligand, okay, when this happens, that is called as crystal field splitting. Okay, you can write this. This point is clear, students. The fifth point is clear now, what I said. When the ligand comes, metal has electrons, ligand also has electrons. Okay. So initially they had no problem, all the energies were equal. But as the metal and the ligand comes closer by, both of them experience the repulsion because of the presence of electron. But now here, when they experience repulsion, some orbitals are exactly oriented towards the ligand. Okay, some orbitals are exactly on the place of where the ligand is going to come, and some orbitals are far away from, little far away from the ligand. So the one who is exactly near the ligand, okay, the orbitals who will be, okay, near to the ligand, where the ligand is exactly going to come, okay, they will experience more repulsion. Okay, they experience more repulsion. So then if they are experiencing more repulsion, they will go to the higher energy state. And the orbitals which are little away from the ligand, they will experience less. Okay, the orbitals which are away, okay, which are away from the L, I will write. Okay, they will experience less repulsion. They will experience less repulsion. So then they will acquire the lower energy state. So as they approach, they undergo splitting. That splitting, I said, is called as crystal field splitting. Okay, so the splitting of the degenerate orbital of the metal when in the presence of the ligands. Now copy this down. I'll give you a minute. Quickly copy this down. This, if you want, roughly you write, because I said no, they will not ask you the theory. They will directly ask you to explain. This diagram isn't required. If you want, you draw. Okay. Roughly you draw, because this is just a basic thing. In brief, I explained you. I will be explaining in general. That diagram which I'm giving, that's very important. Separately for octahedral, separately for tetrahedral. That would be more important. Okay, this is just a brief one, a rough one. Yes, no, okay. Now listen here. See, now we are explaining the crystal field splitting. Now I have gone in particular, okay? In particularly, I'm going to explain crystal field splitting in octahedral and crystal field splitting you are having in tetrahedral complex. So I have considered here, okay, a cube I have taken because you know, solid state when you are explaining, we talk about the unit cell. And there the arrangement of the particles takes place, no? So even here we are going to explain it in a similar fashion, but some changes what is there over here, okay, compared to the ionic solid and the coordination compound. See, I will tell you that difference, little difference what you are observing, I will tell it over here. See, when you are talking about the ionic compound like Na plus and Cl minus combining together, they say that Na plus from infinity and the Cl minus from infinity approach one another, and then they combine together to give rise to NaCl lattice. Okay, and then these Na start combining in the similar fashion in three-dimensional way to give you that whole lattice structure, which I showed you that time. I'm not going to go back on that. You just recall that thing. Okay. So what I'm saying is how the ionic compound is being formed. You will have Na plus ion, and then you have Cl minus ion. These Na plus and Cl minus ion approach from the infinity, okay, which are oppositely charged. Then due to the force of attraction, they join together to form NaCl. Okay, and like that the whole three-dimensional crystal lattice will be formed. So they are saying that both of them are approaching from infinity, but in the crystal field when they are explaining for CFT, there is little change. Okay, what they say is in the CFT they say that metal is stationary. Okay, the metal which is there, which is present in the center, you have seen, no, it is a central metal atom. So they say that the metal over here, they consider the metal as a stationary charge. Okay, this metal ion, I will write here. They say that it is a stationary charge. Okay, this is a stationary charge, and they occupy the center of this unit cell or the center of the universe or anything. Okay, they will occupy the center region. That's it. And the ligands which are there, they will be approaching from infinity side. Okay, like this. So now here, if I have to talk about octahedral complex, then one ligand from this direction will come, one ligand will come from the another direction, one will be coming from this direction, like this. Okay, this way the ligands will be approaching from different direction to give rise to the octahedral complex. Okay, this way. So here they assume that the metal over here, the metal which is there, it is a stationary charge, whereas the ligands which are there, they are moving and then they are combining and joining to form the complex. Okay, this is little different than compared to the ionic, what you have studied. Okay, in ionic compound, we say Na plus and Cl minus approach one another from a far distance, and then they join together to give you that ionic lattice. Okay, a huge crystal lattice will be formed. But in the case of CFT, when the coordination compounds are formed, they say that the metal ion is not moving. Okay, not moving means it is stationary, it is not moving. Who is not moving? The metal ion is not moving. M plus is not moving. So that will be fixed in the center position. Whereas the ligands which are there, they will be approaching from the different direction. Okay, ligands will be approaching from different direction. So now here you have to do the same thing when you are explaining the octahedral complex. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the metal in the center. So metal I'm placing in the center, and ligand I have to get from the different places to form octahedral. So from this, in this cubic, if they have to form octahedral, from which direction the ligand should come? From which direction the ligand should come, you think? If this metal has to form an octahedral, metal is in the center, okay? And they are saying this metal is occupying the octahedral void. This metal is occupying the octahedral void here. Okay, it is occupying octahedral void. So if I have to create the octahedral void, can you tell me from which direction the ligand should approach? Yes, very good. Okay. Yes, so that means you're able to imagine. See, now I've got so many answers. Yes, good. Correct. They should approach from the six sides, correct? No? To form the octahedral. See, you imagine yourself. You imagine yourself sitting inside the cube. Okay. You are that metal ion now. And you want a octahedral to be formed surrounding you. So then from where, which side the atom should come? One should come from, okay, imagine your room. You can imagine your room also. Okay, imagine your room is the cube and you are sitting in the center. If you want the octahedral to be formed, then one ligand should come from this direction, correct? No, all the faces, as you all said. Very good, students. Correct. So here one ligand I should get from this direction. Okay, top. One ligand from down, okay, like this. One ligand from down. One ligand from this direction, okay, this face, like this one, and one ligand from the front side this way, and one ligand from behind. Now this is a behind ligand, okay, behind one, and one will come from this direction, like this. Okay, so when they come from this direction, they will lead to this octahedral geometry. Okay, octahedral void will be created, and that in that octahedral void you will find that the metal ion is sitting. Okay, this is how the geometry is being formed. This is how they are explaining. Okay, so now you just make a note of these things. It's almost time. So I'll be continuing in the next class.